All right, give me a Tyranny of Dragons recap. Whoever's got it, or tag team it, whatever works.
We're tag teaming.
I can start. I think we started with Ragnur, right? Last week, anyways.
Doesn't matter. Go ahead.
So it cut to Ragnur walking.
We started last week with a flashback dream situation with
Belgora
in the ice cave, and he found the mask.
Oh, right.
And his mom and blah blah blah. Okay, sorry. Now we ready?
Yep. It was like my mom in chains and stuff, basically being shown as her as a slave. So it cut to Ragnur, and it was right at the point when we walked through the portal. The 12-hour countdown started then. We spawned by a giant hunting lodge, and there was a royal carriage that had 2 servants, 4 guards, and 2 nobles, and we could see that there was some kind of exchange and conversation. And then the nobles went inside, right? Something about... I wrote down a note, Talus is a slave in the basement that needs talking to, which kind of seemed like it was maybe a nod to something in the basement, right?
Talus was going to do the talking to the slave.
Yes.
Yep.
Talus is someone who's going to talk to the slaves, not... Just that's super important. So
Talus is the big bad boss there, it sounds like.
Perhaps.
Yep. And then we got 2... guards got the jump on us, and they were wearing lots of purple, like the very similar color we see kind of woven throughout the whole campaign here. We killed 2 of them, and then we asked Buckhorn if he could fit into the guard clothes.
Small note on this. I think Dennis mentioned that it looked like they came from a teleportation portal that looked like the one you came from, but from a different area. So I just heard that, and I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Oh, shit, I didn't even remember that.
Go. Please continue, sorry.
I think that's where it cut to you, right?
I mean, you could just do the whole Ragnur thing rather than going, like, back and forth, you know what I mean?
Oh, okay, yeah. So we throw the guard outfit on. We try to sneak into the hunting lodge. We sneak through the window to find 2 people talking, and Aragalon was mob boss? ?
Are you talking about Arlagam? I don't know what you heard about that person, so I don't.
Yeah, I don't know. I just have Arlagon.
You said something about... Someone mentioned, like, Aragon will have to hear about this or something, and then when you busted in that room, that was the name you threw out. When you were like, Aragon asked me to change the menu. That was the name you threw out.
Okay, that's... You... Okay, yes. That is what Spooches said is what you know.
Right, okay. We get through the window, and we end up going through, walk through the kitchen, and I absolutely bossed a persuasion check, right?
And like Spooches said, you invoked Arlagam's name.
Right. Told them they were switching up the menu. We had to change it up, and then they just had to keep on pressing down into the basement. And I think just as we got to the basement, it cut out.
Yep.
Word.
Yep. You had just walked downstairs. You saw 3 people or 3 humanoids in chains, and we stopped.
Word. And then, yeah, the Belgora thing, at one point, we saw... She got sold to a different slave trader that was interested in sacrifice, and she tried to run from them. She got hunted down by some sort of demon dogs and a straight-up Goro-looking motherfucker. So, sorry, dude. I'm halfway across who knows where. Sorry, can't help you. All right. Am I up?
Yeah, man.
Word up. So, yeah, we talked about the dream, but that kind of happened in the episode before that. I just needed some clarification.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I need another note of it because it was important the last session, but you're right. We started with the Belgora.
Yep. I do actually, yeah. I took notes on that. I got a little plan for that, too. All right, so then we so I head over to the house of Thelivar to begin my work, and before I even enter the place, I see a sort of spectral form of a woman outside, and before I could get a good look at her, she sort of disappears before my eyes. And as I enter, I can hear Galio sort of behind some door working away on who knows what, some sort of something or other to do with the planar beacon, I suppose. I saw some guards' backpacks there, presumably the 3 that were supposed to be working on this that are now not coming back because they're scared of everything. I didn't open the backpacks. I talked to Galio. He sort of tells me about what I got to do here, translate some things on a Rosetta Stone, and he also wants me to deal with the sort of ghost situation. He doesn't want to know much about that. He just wants these people to stop being afraid of his tower so they can help him work on it. And in exchange, he agreed to work on my secret chest scroll for free, essentially, just for me helping him out here. He gave me a very shitty room. I went and checked out the kitchen. The kitchen had some weird old fey pixie pear pits and things like that.
Yup.
And then it had some of the soldiers' food in it, and it sort of rotted before my eyes. And then I checked up a chimney and sent Jeeves up there, and there was some sort of rabid raccoon that spooked Jeeves, and Jeeves was acting all crazy. The raccoon was acting all crazy. I pulled a ratatouille.
Inspiration.
And then I went upstairs. It was a very nice staircase. They used to be beautiful at one point. Went upstairs and I started to admire the library, and then books started flying at me. Shalazar actually was interested in the first book that came at him, and it was a sort of book on the Fae and fairies. And if possible, I'd like to retcon and say I brought that specific one with me to the Shrine of Lathander just to kind of read it over before I go to bed. Okay. And then I kind of went around and started my work scribing things. And I did have sort of a eerie interaction too with I heard like voices, almost like a baby like giggle in one room and stuff like that. It was a real spooky time. And then I go back to the Shrine of Lathander. I see a painting that I've seen many a time before, and it was but this time it was of particular interest because I noticed the girl in the painting as the spectral woman I saw.
Aubrey Silverspun.
Aubrey Silverspun, one of 3 of the swords of Lelion that sort of fought the evil, or at least chaotic neutral. Yeah.
The planar
the planar beacon. Oh yeah, that was the other thing. Yeah, he told me about the planar beacon. Pretty interested in that. Definitely want to try to see if there's any remnants left over. I know Lord Neverember kind of reclaimed it more or less, but maybe there's something cool up there. But yeah, I learned a little bit about the Swords of Lelion, and Sister Marigold Brightshine is sort of interested in helping me try to cleanse this, or cleanse their, sort of put these people's soul to rest, maybe. Just something to help these people out, because they were heroes at one time. And now they're sort of haunting that place. So yeah, I think that's more or less where we were at.
Awesome. I just updated your journal. Nope, never mind. I already had it in there. I already updated it last time. You're good. With the Swords of Lelion, you're good.
Yep.
All right. So anything you folks need to know before we rock this party?
Ready to rock and roll, baby.
Well,
Right.
also, I mean, we didn't do Jaxx and Draxx.
Yeah, let's
but-
do that. Because
yeah.
that's where we're starting. So
Right. Oh shit, we're starting there. All right. So yeah, Corey, you wanna lead us on this one?
Jackson
Yeah.
Drax, they
Make
did
sure
some
to-
shit.
We were
It was towards the
starting.
end.
We started like right when all those
I
people
can
started
help. I can
entering
help
the
if you need
keep.
me to. I can help if you need me
We
to.
s-
Just
we
say the
s-
word.
Yep, we saved like 70 people from the keep. That was last
There
time.
was
before that.
dragon. Blue was it a blue dragon? Was flying around the castle,
Correct.
the keep. We had a cultist that we interrogated.
Yep.
I think we were doing like the good cop, bad cop routine,
There
right?
were. You guys did great.
We saw the dragon started to swoop down on us. The governor was saying that there was a ballista on top of the tower, just ready to be fired at the dragon. We kept being invaded by kobolds, and we had a sworn duty to protect and seal the front gate.
Well,
I feel like I'm missing some
Yeah.
much more information.
Bro,
Yeah,
well,
those-
you
We
took
took
a
down the
shot.
dragon.
You took a shot at a dragon and you
good.
smashed that fool, bro.
Sure as hell did. You
Don't-
guys
don't sell
attacked
yourself
one
short.
effort, but it was Drax's actual shot that made it happen.
Jaxx.
And shortly after that, they came freaking out that the Sally port was being breached and that Sergeant Markoth and his men were bravely holding the Sally port, but they wouldn't last long. And with your beaten, broken bodies, you also saw the dragon land and sit before Frundeth, the seemingly the woman leader of this assault, and rip the ballista spear out and throw it at her feet and basically say, "I'm fucking out of here. This is nonsense."
And
the
she
blue
was
dragon-
unfazed by that, which is pretty
Okay.
badass. She was
Say it again?
she was unfazed by that, which is pretty
Mhm.
badass of her too.
Yeah, she did. She did not seem scared or put out by that, but the dragon did leave. Then you rush down to the Sally port, and after assessing the situation, you went into the Sally port, that small area between the inner gate and the outer gate, and you cleaned it out pretty quickly despite some crit misses early on. And by one hit point, you saved Sergeant Margoth. And within moments of that, the attack seemingly was called off. They stopped trying to break through the front gate. And that's when you heard
Cyanwrath.
a voice that you now know to be Lenga DeRosa Cyanwrath
Oh shit.
call out, basically saying, I have these peasants that I will kill unless you send out your greatest champion to fight me. And upon looking out through the peephole to see, it's Sergeant Markov's sister, her husband, and her children. So Markov, despite being on the brink of death, volunteered to go out, but the men beseeched him not to go. And before a decision could be made, Draxx was like, I got this. And
He was about to down that potion, and I
He
put my
noticed
finger
that-
on the top, and I put my
that
finger, my
Margoth
hand
had
on his
pulled
shoulder.
out a healing potion he was about to take, and Draxx just ganked it. Was like, I got this.
Yep.
And that's where we left off. All right. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
Gucci,
I think we're good.
All right. So, this week on the TV show, right? It starts off high in the air and it flies over the Sword Coast, over the Sword Mountains, over what we know to be Phandalin, over Lelion. We can see the Tower of Thelivar as we sweep over the Mere of Dead Men, this terrifying swamp straight out of your nightmares, over the Sword Mountains, which we now know in the northwest is where Cryovane had been brought down. But they go very far down the southern coast of the Sword Mountains, and we fly over the Arid Deep Forest, and it begins to pan in to the forest, and we see working through the forest a group of orcs, and the orcs are slaughtering elves in a small elven enclave. And we see it happening from above. The elves put up a good fight, but this seems to be more of an elven enclave of non-warriors, right? And these orcs are battle hardened. We notice as the camera gets closer and closer, and these orcs are literally running through this village that is built, right into the trees in the forest. It's very much one with the nature here in the Aradeep forest. And as we get closer to the leader of these orcs, he turns with this battle-hardened, scarred face, and we see what could be anywhere between dozens to maybe 60, 70 ears of all different humanoids hanging around his neck, and thick, like Mr. T style, multiple chains of ears. And he looks with a snaggle tooth, and he says, "Kill them all! None shall live!" And the slaughter is on. We sort of, the camera follows, and as the group sort of breaks to the west, our camera breaks to the east. And it follows, we see the feet, the bare feet of what we believe to be an orc. And we're following these feet, and we can sort of see as they very silently move through the woods and around dead bodies of elves and through burning parts of the village and to the outskirts. And we can hear in the distance the sounds of battle that this orc is approaching. And then the orc stops, the feet stop, and the camera starts to go up the calves of the orc, up its hamstrings, and then we see at its feet from behind an elven child dead before the feet of this orc. And the orc takes one knee and looks down at the child, and a trembling hand goes out and closes the eyes, the horrified opened eyes of the elven child. And then the camera moves around from behind the orc to the front, and the orc's head is down, this massive, massive orc. And as the orc picks up their head and the camera finds them, it's not an orc, it's a half-orc that our audience knows to be Draxx. And Draxx looks up, and then the camera shows us what he sees. He sees one single elf surrounded by three orc warriors that Draxx himself is not very fond of. And we watch this elf, parry, dodge, and spin and twirl. We can see a dead woman just outside the circle, a dead elven woman just outside the circle. One single home ablaze, and this elf cuts down one orc, then a second. The third orc stabs him in the back, and it comes out through what has to be his lung. We hear the air push out of this elf, but he slides off the blade and spins with frightening speed and slashes the orc across the throat. The orc, still smiling, doesn't realize that a fatal blow has been dealt. And as he moves in on the elf, he doesn't understand, seemingly by the look on his face, why his body won't cooperate. And then he drops to his knees, blood spurting out of his neck, and he falls dead at the elf's feet. The elven warrior, mortally wounded, looks up and makes eye contact with Draxx. Draxx stands up from his one knee and flexes his corded muscles, loosely grasping his mighty maul. And he looks at the elf and he says, "Too much blood has been spilled this day. Run, elf. There is no shame. I will let you flee this day. You have already suffered enough." The elf, bleeding from the mouth, gasping for air, says, "I do not know what tricks you play, orc. I am surely doomed to die. I will take you with me. Draxx sighs heavily. Again, I offer you a truce. Clearly, your pain is more than the physical wounds you bear. Run. Die in the peace of the forest, not under my maul. The elf says, I believe you. You're different. I can see it. You're not even a full orc, are you? No, even more than that. Something more. You don't even see it, do you? And the elf laughs as his wind is a mess. He says, we will see if you are meant to live or not this day, strange orc. Be ready, because I'm going to kill you. And with frightening speed, the elf is upon him. Spooches, describe this battle of the one elf ear that you kept.
Oh shit.
Oh shit. Yeah, I think I would imagine this elf has sort of dual blades. He's doing a lot of sort of speedy spinning attacks, and honestly, a lot of these attacks, Draxx will try to block with his maul as much as he can, but a lot of them are getting through, and it's slashing up his chest and his belly, but nothing too severe. And Draxx is actually missing a lot, and he's missed a couple times, but usually he'll never miss more than like twice on an opponent. And this guy is just dexterous. He's slashing and he's moving out of the way. He's like water. But eventually Draxx realizes like all he has to do is land one clean one. And he sort of centers himself, and this time is sort of prepared and willing to take a little bit of abuse if he knows that he can get that clean shot. And he sort of, in game mechanics, would be turning on that reckless attack here and turning up the advantage. And he sort of is just sort of holding his position, and this time waiting that extra little half a second to strike. He takes his 2 slashes and then comes straight down on the back of the guy's, like the back of his head, and just puts him out cold with that one big shot. And he sort of does a similar thing and takes the knee, rolls him over, and sort of closes his eyes on him. And then gets to work on carrying and extracting that single ear that he's held onto for these many years.
Now, Draxx has never taken an ear before, and he's taken ridicule and abuse because the warriors of this tribe are judged by the number and type of ears and the stories attached to them. Why has Draxx never taken an ear until now? And why does he take this one? And what is he thinking as he does it?
Well, he's always felt like, honestly, like it sounds noble, but in some ways, he just feels like a lot of these people he's had to fight are like lesser than him. And he's like, what am I going to be doing? Like, why am I defacing the body of someone I killed essentially effortlessly? And this was like one of his first battles where he's like, all right, like this guy actually like earned my respect. And instead of taking it for braggadocious reasons and like being in just like a notch on his belt, for him it's more of like, all right, I want to remember this guy in this fight, and I'm going to carry around his ear just to kind of keep the tradition a little bit, but break it in his own way.
Nice. Corey, I don't need to or want to even hear right now, but I do want you to think about what Draxx's stance was and is on being an ear seeker and collecting ears and Does he have a collection? Does he wear them? Does he not? Just think about it. I don't need an answer right now. But, that's an interesting either, sort of thing that bonds the two of you or separates the two of you, or, have you taken no ears? Whatever. Just think about it. Don't need an answer now. So as the audience sees the knife come out, right, and they know what you're beginning to do, we immediately cut to outside of the keep.
Mike, that was so good, dude.
Thanks, dog.
So good.
By the way, both of you, all the inspiration, all 4 characters get inspiration. So, outside the Sally port, we see Langdarosa Cyanwrath, half blue half dragon. So basically, a half dragon that or a dragon that walks on 2 legs, right? Here is the image.
Oh shit, this guy's awesome.
He's got this spear. He's got this. You've seen him use the spear and the mighty sword that he carries from a distance and just straight wreck, people. He stands out there with a toothy grin on his face.
What a name.
He's massive. He is massive. He towers over Draxx, which is unheard of. He's got this thick hide, this beautiful armor. He's surrounded by dozens of kobolds. I want you to think about it like Street Fighter. The people are in the background. The kobolds are like, just this constant cheering, and they're kind of making this half circle around this entire area. So, and a group of kobolds have their spears to the backs of this family, which is like, they're covered in dirt, and they look charred and beaten. The guards open up the front gates as you ask them to. Everybody ready to defend, expecting this might be a trick, but Draxx is able to just walk out onto the battlefield. Jaxx, what do you do?
I would imagine, like, as the doors close, Jaxx like squeezes through. Like, he kind of doesn't want Draxx to know. He just like pops through the door as it shuts through.
I think before I leave too, I see that I don't know if he's being honest, but I see that he's essentially offering his hostages to us, and I look back at one of these guards and I'm like, go grab the acolyte we got tied up. If this guy gives us our hostages, he gets his back.
All right. So the guard kind of looks around, like doesn't know whether he should be listening to you or not, and Markov says, "Go, you fool! Do as the..." And he pauses. "As the man says." And he's hoping that was the right way to refer to you. And the guard rushes off to get the acolyte. As you come out, Cyanwrath says, "I hoped it would be you. I saw you. I thought you were one of mine. Now you will be mine in a different way. Give them the wretches," he says to the kobolds, and the kobolds sort of stick. Even the children, they kind of stab them a little bit with their spears. Ah! And they run over to you, and the children grab around your legs. The woman hides behind you. The man can barely make it over to you. And that's the door opens slightly, and the guards are frantically gesturing for them to come through. What do you do? The children are just stuck to your legs, Draxx.
Inside! Markov's just inside the Sally port. This is no place for civilians.
They didn't react even when you yelled, but the second you said Markov, you got their attention, and they looked back to see their uncle, and the children, they start to run, and then they stop and come back, and actually, despite these children being like, 7 and 9 maybe, they help their parents inside, and the door closes. Draxx, you realize in your peripheral that your brother Jaxx has come out, and he's standing off to the side.
I give him a look like, don't interrupt this unless you have to. Unless they make this unfair, you don't make this unfair.
So Cyanwrath takes a look over at Jaxx and then looks back at his dozens of kobolds, shrugs, and looks back at you and says, "Now, are you gonna drink that potion to make this more fun? Or do you want it to be quick?"
By the way, this whole time, Draxx hasn't broken eye contact, even when he was telling those kids to leave. He's just staring. And he's had a smile on his face the whole time. I actually think it took him a while to realize Jaxx was behind him. But, are there acolytes in the crowd at all? Or is it all kobolds?
It's all kobolds. You can actually, now that you kind of allow yourself a different thought, even though you're kind of keeping eye contact with him, in your peripheral, and Jaxx, you would definitely see this. The army's pulling out. Like they're leaving. Clearly leaving. This is the last bit that needs to leave.
Well, look, I know why you're here, and you know why I'm here. We're both here because we know this might be the only fun we get to have.
It's a shame I'll only get to kill you once.
What do you say? Look.
Roll initiative, my friend.
All right. I'm trying to open this.
Click on your token and roll when you're ready.
I would imagine Jaxx is on the pressed up against the wall on the outside with a foot up, picking his teeth out, just kind of watching from the corner of his hood.
I like it. Corey, why don't you roll initiative? So click on your token and roll initiative. We'll put you in the order.
Also, what exactly is this look like outside? Is there like a drop, like stairs going down at all, or is it just I open a door and he's right there?
Nope. He's out on the main road that leads into what would be, the main gate. He's just right outside the keep.
All right, cool.
You can see in the keep is kind of up on a hill, so you're looking over Greenest, which is completely in flames. It's burning. It's like 4 a.m. Dawn is still a couple hours away. It's that weird, not quite dusk, but not quite middle of the night. The stars are, in a different position. The sun is soon to come up, but not soon enough. The moon is just lighting up this area, and the fires are lighting up this area. It's almost like broad daylight between the full moon and the fires, surrounding this area. And you can hear the kobolds. And Cyanwrath very calmly, very confidently takes his spear, gets into the ready position. You think it's a smile? Hard to tell. You think it's a smile on his face, and you guys are sort of circling each other, feeling each other out, but you get to go first. What do you do?
Well, I think first I just start taking a step towards him as I'm sipping my health potion as a bonus action.
So with your bonus action, let's roll that. Let's just get that out of the way. 2d4 plus 2.
Wait, what? What did I roll? Oh, I rolled 1d4 and got a d1.
Roll another d4.
Wow.
Oh, fuck me.
I'm
so
dead.
That's 4 hit points.
Oh, shit.
The dice hate you. That's all right. So it's your turn. What do you do?
Well, I look at him and I'm like, well, I've been bashing kobold brains in all day. I am afraid I took a bit of a licking. I'm afraid I don't know if I can put up the fight of a lifetime you deserve, but we're gonna go ahead and give it a shot. But look,
Those are the words of weakness.
you know,
And
if you want to, I know you're here because you want some fun. Why don't you go ahead, call back one of your acolytes, and get them to heal me a little bit and give you the proper fun you deserve?
When he says that, Jack says, "I do have a health potion, Draxx."
You
And he
do?
wiggles it out in the air.
he's Langdarosa Cyanwrath says, give it to him.
And then I throw my potion of healing.
Make sure you take it off your character sheet.
Interesting.
All right?
So
Now, here's your choice. You can take it as your action right now, or you can wait till your next turn and take it as a bonus action.
I'm probably just gonna do that. All right. So I think, all right, I grab it. Glad we got that out of the way. Grab it. I stash it for a second, and I just look at him and I say, I hope you're ready for the fight of your life. And I'm not gonna do an actual perception check, but I want to I kind of look at his spear, his sword, and then lastly I take a good long look at his ear. All right, and now I'd make a nice running attack with my maul, and I'm not gonna go reckless, so I'm gonna maul him. 11? Probably not.
That's a big time miss.
All right.
It's not even close. He very, very easily moves out of the way.
It's too slow, even for this large man. How much bigger is he than me?
How tall are you?
Like, I'd say like 6'5" or something like that.
Yeah, he's over 7 feet.
He's a behemoth.
Yes, yeah. I mean, he part largely dragon. So you kind of come not quite recklessly, but right on the verge of recklessly, and with sort of scary dexterity for a creature this large, he moves to the side, and then takes his spear, which by the way looks like the less scary of his two weapons, and he stabs at you. Just a 13 hit.
No.
And you dodge out of the way, but then he spins with frightening speed with a second attack, but you duck it, and you feel the wind of the spear whoosh over your head, and he chuckles.
In that, I think in that moment, I have a flashback to my fight with that elf, of the elf dodging my attacks as I'm dodging his.
I like it. Jaxx, I'm just gonna say your name when your turn comes up in the initiative, and if there's anything you'd like to do at any point, you tell me. Otherwise, I'm just gonna keep going. So, Jaxx?
Good.
All right. So, Draxx, you're up.
All right. So yeah, I kind of circle him a little. This is a big boy. I'm actually not used to these kind of tactics. It's usually the other people doing this shit to me. So now I'm kind of trying to learn by what people have done to me. And I'm like, all right, let's move around this big guy a little bit. And I'm now going to use my bonus action to drink that health potion, actually.
2d4 plus 2.
2 more ones. There we go.
Nice.
So 8.
That's much better. So, yeah, come over here, and now I'm going to recklessly attack. Oh, God, it's kind of scary that he gets 2 attacks, though, isn't it? Oh, actually, you know what? Fuck that. I'm going to use Inspiration, not recklessly attack. Inspiration on this.
So if you use Inspiration and recklessly attack, you'd be rolling at regular. If that's what you're saying.
Wait, no. I'm saying instead of recklessly attacking, I'm going to use Inspiration.
Okay,
but
gotcha.
Turns out I didn't even need it because the 15 was the better. Does a 15 hit, though?
Doesn't. It just barely moves out of the way, and you missed.
That's not good.
Your maul thuds into the ground, and with that, he takes his spear, and he basically, does a 15 hit you?
Yeah.
He basically slaps you with like the blunt end of the spear in the side of the head, but it hits for 9. It's like very concussive. 9 points of damage. And then with your head spun around, he then tries to stab you in the gut with it for 10 points, and he drives the spear into your gut.
I'm already down.
So with that, you drop. Jaxx, you see Draxx drop to his knees. The spear is in his stomach. What do you do?
And there's still kobolds surrounding us, right?
Oh, there's dozens of kobolds who are not attacking. They're watching and cheering. You see your brother's eyes go wide in shock, and he drops to his knees. And Cyanwrath's toothy smile gets bigger, and he's driving the spear in.
Jaxx yells, "Enough! That's it. You bested him. Leave him be."
Make a disadvantage persuasion check.
I'm gonna use inspiration because I have -1 and I really want this to work.
Okay. All right. He straight laughs at you. Draxx, make a death saving throw. This is a really, really important death saving throw. Okay. Do you have inspiration, either one of you?
Not on these characters.
Okay. So with that, you start to like, your maul drops to the ground, and Cyanwrath pulls the spear out slowly, and then he smiles and he drives it in. Which is two failures. All right. So with that, we cut to the basement of the lodge.
No way!
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So, with that, we cut to the basement of the lodge. And here is our hero, Ragnur Stormbrew. Can you see yourself, bud? Oh, hold on. Let me put Spooches on the board here so he can just see, even though he's not really there.
Can we take just a 10-minute break so I go cry in the shower?
Me too. We can.
Oh.
I feel that. Ragnur, can you see?
Yeah, I see Shalazar behind me, and then I see...
Yeah, he's not really there. I put him there so he's not bored looking at blackness.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see an acolyte and some woman with it. Yeah, right there.
I actually do only see blackness, though.
Okay, I don't know why this, every time, I'm going to have to make some changes here. Every single time I put you on the board, your vision turns off, and I have to turn it back on. It's very annoying. How about now, Shalazar?
Yep.
You're good?
Yep.
Okay, so Ragnur, you go down in the basement. You can still, for a brief minute, hear the cook still at work, and then when you go down a second flight of stairs, you see three people, or 3 humanoids in chains. The cellar is damp and it smells like apples and vinegar and blood. There's bags of apples and sacks of potato and wine lining one wall. 3 prisoners are chained along the wall. There's a dwarf with a chopped and singed beard. He's shirtless, and he bears many marks of torture. There is a woman who appears badly beaten and wounded. She's bleeding, although the wounds are healing, but she's been brutalized, as the dwarf. And then there is a man who is shackled. They all look a bit malnourished. The man, though, looks unscathed, other than he looks like he could use some water and a meal. The chains are secured to iron rings, keeping them just out of the reach of food on the floor before them. They're all in iron chains. They're all shackled. They're all malnourished. The dwarf and the woman have clearly been whipped, beaten, and tortured. They don't even acknowledge that you've walked down the stairs, but they are alive.
And it was Buckhorn that was in me, right?
No, your Buckhorn is outside. You went in by yourself. Buckhorn,
Oh shit!
you are all by yourself, dude. You're posing as Cult of the Dragon, and you walked in like you own the joint. Remember, he boosted you in through the window and waited out back.
Yeah.
Decision to push forward. Here you are. What do you do?
So, I would imagine that has to be pretty heavy for Ragnur because he hasn't seen like somebody getting tortured or like that's he goes down there and he's like by Lathander's light, and he's quickly rolls an investigation check to see, or a perception check to see if I can find like, is there chests, or is there something like a key I can unlock that thing with?
Yeah, make a perception check. Yeah, I mean, certainly if you had whatever master key unlocks the shackles, you could unlock them, but you don't see a key handy. And these shackles look pretty heavy duty. They do not look like they will easily be broken.
Ragnar walks over to the man that looks the freshest and says,
You're gonna walk by the woman.
"Yeah,
It's
you said
fine.
she doesn't even know I'm there, right? She's badly beaten."
Yeah, her head is bowed. She's not even looking up at you as you approach.
I don't know how. When Ragnar walks by the female, he puts his hand on the back of her head and he
She
puts
cringes at your touch. Just
this. As I touch, a glow comes from my hand, and I use lay on hands for 5 points on her.
okay.
I don't know if it like cures sickness and like.
No, it absolutely does.
Okay.
If you use 5 of your lay on hands, if someone has like an infection or an illness that isn't, or a disease even that isn't
I
a
thought
high
it was
level
5.
one, or a poison that isn't a high level one, it will actually cure them. Um,
Okay.
when you do that, you watch as the power of your god seals the most threatening wounds. You know, in game mechanics, she was down to 1 hit point. You close up all these wounds that had her on the brink of death. You see some of the pus and infection of older wounds heal up. She will bear scars from the beating she has taken. You hear her take a deep breath, and she looks up, with 2 black and blue eyes. One of them was sealed shut, and you watch it as your healing power slowly heals it and opens the eye. And she looks at you and she says, "What new misery are you here to bring upon me? Have you not done enough? Now you must bring me back from the brink to do more? What has she lost her stomach for this? Has Talus the White not have the presence to do it herself? I'm ready, Master Dwarf. Whatever it is you have for me, no. You cannot touch my soul."
Um, Ragnar puts his hand on her cheek and he says, "I don't come bringing misery. I come bringing the warmth of the sun. I'm here to help you escape from this, whatever the hell they're doing to you down here."
You see hope and excitement in her eyes for a moment, and then you literally see her like, no, no. She won't let herself believe it. And she kind of chuckles and she's like, "Your mental abuse will not break me. I've told you all that I know and more that I care to. Please just kill me."
These robes are not mine. These are a different person's. See, I snuck in here on the the gut feeling that my mother would be here and I would find some trace of her.
That seems to pique her interest, but before she can say anything, The man down here who's in, compared to the other two, in amazing shape. Um, he says, "Well, if you're here to let us out, please come on." And he puts his shackles out. Undo the shackles. Let's go. I will run. I will follow you anywhere. Let's just let me out. Let us go. And
Uh,
you see her shoot the man a look, and then she looks back at you.
can I roll a perception check on him? See if he's.
Insight check on which one. Like, what are you making? Just roll insight. Roll an insight check.
I want to roll an insight check to see if there's something fishy about him.
All right, make it.
If there's something. Oh, crit fail.
Yeah,
Damn. Even
your
with +4.
your focus is so on your mom, and your head is spinning with whatever is going on in here, that you can't even think straight. So what do you do?
Uh, he's just trying to overcome everything, like everything that's at. Everything's at a 10 at him right now, right? He's seeing like slavery for the first time. He doesn't know where his mom is. He thought it would be in here, and he looks towards the man and he said, I can't undo the locks.
You
I
see
don't
him
have the key. I need to find the key."
under the weight of your words. He instantly just like sits down and is like, ah, fuck. Sorry, but that
You
the second
know,
you say that, he's just like,
have you seen anybody with a key to let you guys out?
um, uh, the woman says, "I don't know what games you play, dwarf," and the man says, "Well, um, I've seen Talus with a ring of keys, and her bodyguards both carry rings of keys, but I don't know." And the woman says, "Brother Cayman, shut your gob. We have no need for you to say anything at this point. They are not going to free you. They're going to let you watch us die. Then, then it will be your turn. I'm just sad I will not be here to see it." And she spits at him.
And that was a female, the girl that said that?
She said that to the dude down here. And you can hear the faint groans of the dwarf.
Yeah, that's when I turn to I quickly realize he's in there. I run over to the dwarf, and again my necklace starts to glow. It goes from to my shoulder, then out through my wrist, and then into my hands again. And I heal him for 5 more lay of hands.
So while you begin the process of healing him, when you lay hands on him, he also sort of like shudders under physical touch. But then he looked up with very bleary eyes, like he could barely open his eyes. He's out of his mind. And he says, "Verum, Verum, I knew you'd come for me. Oh, Verum, we're going to kill this witch together. I knew if I were loyal. I didn't tell her a thing, Verum. Not a word. She means to kill you, Verum. Treachery! Treachery." And then he kind of sags, collapses, but then your holy light, courses over him and begins healing his wounds. How many hit points do you give him?
5.
Okay. So, much like her, basically mechanic wise, he was down to 1 hit point. And now he sort of perks up and he shakes his head and keeps blinking his eyes. You can see now his beard is burned. His face is burned. He's been like, some sort of fire has been either used or whatever. Like he's scarred very badly on the face. Much like the woman, you can see signs of other sorts of torture, clearly a whip, things like that. And he's in worse shape than the woman by far. And he looks and he says, "You're not Verum. Did he
No,
send you? Did he send you to save me? I knew he would. Who
no,
are you? What do you know?"
I'm Ragnar, the one of the lovers of Lathander, and I'm here to
Then
hopefully get you out of this prison.
you see him make a movement with his hand.
Perception to see what he's doing with his hand.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah. He basically took his hand, even though it's shackled, and he very subtly did this. Like he raised it up just a little bit, pointed it towards you, and went. And then he put it down, and he's looking at you as if he's expecting something.
what's with the hand? Did you just put some type of spell on me after I heal you?
He says, "What are you? You're not of the cult. Then what brings you here? And why should I not scream for the guards right now and wager your life against mine?"
You scream for the guards. They're just gonna kill all of us, right? That's one. Two.
I'm already dead.
Well, do you want any chance of a life? Is this how you want to end your life right here? You have a chance right now to get out of those chains.
And who's
Please.
going to get me out of these chains? And where did you get those robes, dwarf of Lathander?
Lathander puts his Ragnar puts his maul down on the ground and he says, I had to take care of a couple on my own accord, and I was dropped here because I was led to believe that my mother was here. Belgora, a dwarf woman, have you seen her at all?
Belgora? Dwarf, sir, did you say? And you hear the woman, Belgora, and the dwarf in front of you looks like, who the fuck's Belgora? But
Uh,
you hear the woman,
so he says, the second she says something, he runs over because, you know, my mother? What about my mom?
and you hear the dwarf behind you say, I should scream for the gods. I should do it.
Um, you said there was food everywhere, right?
There's food like rotting food just outside of their reach.
Oh,
Like
it's
it,
all
it
rotting though. It's not like
was
good
very
food.
intentionally. There is water as well, although it looks a bit foul at this point.
Um, Ragnar gives him. I would imagine he would have a canteen on
Yeah,
him.
you would have a water skin.
Yeah, water skin. So Ragnar goes over and he says, "Please, here, look. I'm sure you're thirsty. Take what I have for
He
water.
snatches it from you like a starving, animal.
Now be careful when you haven't drank in a while, and then you drink all that water, you could throw up and lose everything. So
he
take it slow."
he ignores you and just gulps every last drop.
He Ragnar sighs and he turns around and heads back to the female.
That seems to be enough to keep him quiet right now. She says, Did you say Belgora?"
Yeah, that's me, mom. And he takes out and he shows the family crest.
Make an advantage persuasion check. Oh
On
shit.
point.
She says, I know that this is probably another cruel trick of Talus the White, but I have nothing else to lose. I know. Knew? No? I don't know. I, I, I know Belgora. She's so strong. She was going to help us escape. And at that, she shoots Brother Cayman another dirty look. And she says, Yes, we were brought here as slaves. She had been a slave much longer than I, and a slave previously in the Underdark, she said. And when I was captured outside of Baldur's Gate and sold and brought here, I was new. She kept me protected from the gods and from the unspeakables. She had a plan. It was brilliant. She trusted me. She trusted you, she says to Brother Cayman, and he hangs his head in obvious shame, and she says, "She got us on the wait staff. We were part of the help. She feigned compliance. She won their trust as much as they trust a slave. She feigned being broken, but we knew. She bade us do the same. And then she set up the escape. She waited until they were celebrating and good and drunk, and she gave us the sign, and she snuck us out the back door, and she began to run. She told me to run too, but I froze it first. And then I joined her, but I was so far behind her, and then this one alerted the gods, and we were done for. Belgora got into the forest. I do not know what happened, but I heard the creatures that had brought down many others that had tried to escape. I heard them hunting for her. I heard her scream. They brought us down here. The dwarf was already here. They tortured us. Well, they tortured me. They made this one watch. Talus herself did most of it. And she hung her head. She looks up and she says, "She told me they gave your mother to the beast that lives in the kennel." And she looked at you. She looks at you with horrified eyes. And that is where we cut. All right.
It doesn't sound good.
Quick drink and pee break, and then we will emerge in the Tower of Thelivar. Well, on our way to the Tower of Thelivar, and we'll discuss anything that you did the night before with Miss Marigold. And you had talked about some ideas you had or whatever. We'll rectify that, and then we'll head to the tower. All right, quick pee and drink break, boys. And I am sorry that it went down that way, but I promise you, I you know what I like? How much it's obvious you guys trust me, and I appreciate that. So let us take up the House of Thelivar. So Ragnur, I've got you on here just so you can see, but for some reason it doesn't look like you can see very well.
I also cannot see.
I don't know what the F, man. They changed. You know what I'm gonna do? Hold on. They changed the dynamic lighting, and they allegedly made it better, but I haven't figured out what I'm supposed to do with the settings. So I'm just gonna do this for this map. So it should just be daylight right now. All right, can you both see now?
Nope, I don't see anything.
I do.
That's bullshit.
Oh wait, I see it's in the corner here, but
I
it's
just
only
see like an L shape.
Yes, same. I
I'm
was
gonna bring you
zoomed in
both
the
over
wrong
here
spot.
for a minute. Bring you both over here.
And this is the Shalazar scene, right?
Yes, this is the House of Thelivar. All right, so Shalazar, you got back to the Temple of Lathander. You saw the painting. Marigold Brightshank got all excited to tell you all about the swords of Lelion and how they don't know most of their names, but they do know those three, right? They know their names. They know the relative story. Basically, when this tower, like whatever nuclear event happened, the swords of Lelion helped people escape, and that was the fall of Lelion. Like that was it. Lelion was done after that. This is the reclamation project hundreds of years later.
Mm-hmm.
And but it's a well-known story to the people that have settled here. Like, they're learning the history, and the swords of Lelion are the story that is told here. And you said you brought that book about the Feywild and fairies home with you. So here you are. It's the night before you got to go back to work. All right. So tell me, how does the night go? What do you guys do?
I don't have too much in plans with Marigold Brightshine just yet, but she did mention that she sort of wanted to work with me to develop some sort of way of like cleansing this place. She sounded like she was interested in helping me form some sort of seance or something like that. Basically, the only thing I really wanted to do was I remembered that me and Ragnur aren't completely disconnected here, because we each have sending stones, and I just want at one point I believe I sent him like a letter. I don't even know if I did or if it was just Marigold.
Marigold did.
I thought I'd just send him a.
Stone just one way though.
We each have one.
It goes one way, and then it can go one way back, and then that's it.
But it's like a tweet. It's only like 25 words. So this is just Shalazar has no idea what you're up to, and he was just gonna be like, "What's up? Just checking in." But yeah, he's basically going to. I think I wrote. Oh shit. He's basically just gonna say like basically. I would imagine. I'm not sure how the timelines line up exactly, but I would imagine
I know how it's lining up. So tell me what you're going to say to Ragnur, and
Excellent.
I will tell Corey when he received that.
Oh, cool. Okay. I actually wrote a tiny little thing here.
Can you put it in the chat?
Oh, it's on my phone. Oh, god damn.
Oh, never mind.
This little.
Just say it, and I'll take a note.
Sorry. Where'd it go? Okay. Dear Ragnur, also, by the way, you don't hear this like a walkie-talkie. You hear this in your mind. So this, Dear Ragnur, Sister Marigold sends her blessings. I'm really putting in a good word for you over here. You owe me. I'll see you in a 10-day. P.S. Send Pete my blessings.
Aw. All right. So you would have.
Dude, what a clutch play! I can't believe I forgot about those.
Yep.
You would have received that the morning that or the night before you went through the portal.
Okay.
So you can respond to that, like rewind your life if you'd like to. You can respond to that the night before, when you wake up the next day.
So that was the day that I woke up and I created on those dogs, right? They became my best friend, and that we got the letter into the mail. And then it was that night. So I'm putting the pieces together.
Hold on, wait. Just so you know, this is the night before you won over the dogs. The night before you got the letter from Marigold. This is the night before that session.
Gotcha. Okay. Oh, that makes that moment back in time more impactful because he reads the letter and he's like, "Oh,
yeah,
it did work." So Ragnar receives his message, and is the sending stone like an actual stone? Does it glow when I get the transmission?
It doesn't glow, but it gets like warm and it emanates energy that you can feel, and then it speaks in your mind, and you feel connected to it. And if you just put your hand around it, you can then, when you're ready, you basically send your message telepathically.
So I'd imagine Ragnar is in bed, and then all of a sudden, this message comes in his head, and he sits up in his bed, and he's looking around, and he's trying to figure out like where it came from. And you said he could sense the energy, so he went towards the room, and he starts going through his bag and throwing stuff everywhere, and then he finds the stone, and he hits himself in the head. He goes, "That's right." And holy shit, I gotta be off the cuff here now.
I know.
Yeah. Remember, you don't know what's about to happen. You don't know you're gonna walk through a portal and you're looking for your mom or any of that.
Do you want? Okay, sorry.
What were you gonna say, Mikey?
I was gonna say, you can. I can sort of narrate what happens overnight, and if you want a minute to think about that, but you can go ahead. It sounds like you're ready.
Yeah, why don't you think for a minute and go ahead, Shalazar. Tell us what you're doing, Shalazar, while you're waiting for your response.
Basically, when he's at the house of Thelivar, he feels like he should be sort of spending most of his time either committed to like mostly committed to translating those books. He feels like the ghosts are kind of gonna spook up and pop up on him when they please, but he doesn't want to be spending his whole time reading about like the Fae while he's there. So he's gonna try to take like a book back each night and just try to read as much of it as he can. So this time it was a book on the Fae Wild and fairies, and he just sort of is learning what he can about that kind of stuff.
Make a history and/or an arcana check.
Word.
At advantage because you have the book.
The book. You. Oh, wait. They're both good. I'll do history.
Oh, shit. So, you basically read, the video that I had you watch. You basically, you already would have known quite a bit of that, but, you get more of it. Like, it fills all that out. But one of the things that jumps out to you is reading about the foods of the Feywild, and you realize that that those pixie pears are called pixie pears because pixies and fairies favor them so much, and that honey and mellow fruits are some of the favorite foods of pixies and fairies.
Interesting. I'll have to send Jeeves to go find me some one day. And then, while I sleep, I was wondering, is there any chance that I have that same dream again? Or was that a rare occurrence?
No, I actually have a note about the dream you have this night. Before you have that dream, though, we got to hear what Ragnur says to you.
Okay.
Dear Shalazar, I totally forgot I had this thing. The progress in Phandalin is going well, and it's good to see a breath of air being inhaled back into the city again. Progress is slow and the days are long, but with any luck, this town will pull together again. Thanks for throwing in the kind words with Marybeth, Gold, Winter, Shine, Bright. I'm sorry, but her name escapes me for some reason. I just can't remember her name. Anyways, be safe, Shalazar. Your friend, Ragnur. P.S. If there's any alcohol over there, make sure you bring Ragnur, good old Ragnur, back some.
Awesome.
With a winky face.
Beautiful. So, you even added an emoji.
I award you both inspiration, and if you'd like to, you can give it to your characters. Even though your character's dead, put it on your character sheets, Buches. So you can move it over to those to Draxx and Jaxx.
Thank God for that extra. Right. That would have came out like dog shit.
So as you lay yourself down to go to bed, Shalazar, with your mind spinning, like, what does it all mean kind of thing. You do indeed, according to my notes anyhow, have that dream again.
Excellent.
Almost the exact same dream. But this time, when your mom sort of morphs into this coin that's a gentle hand comes down, a very dainty hand, and picks it up, and in one hand is the coin, and then a second hand emerges, and you see basically Shalazar in the other hand. And then when you sort of pan up from the hands to the face of this person, it's Aubrey Silverspun, and then you wake up.
Whoa, that's wild. Okay. All right, so now I'm gonna need a DM's decision. As Shalazar wakes up, he feels he feels unequipped, almost emotionally, to process whatever these dreams mean. So he attempts to tackle them in the way that he knows how, by tapping into the arcane. And he's going to tap into the power of his wizard hat. So I'm going to make an intelligence check.
Okay.
I think Arcana check.
Okay.
Oh, fuck. It failed. I thought there was no chance that would fail because I only needed a 3. Fuck.
Hey, you do have inspiration if it's important to you.
Yeah. I'll use it. I thought for sure there was no way I was going to fail that.
Now, wait, just so you know, the way I rule this is
The first one.
You take the leftmost number, period.
Yep.
It doesn't mean you get, because you didn't, whatever.
Yep, gotcha. Give me a 3. There it is. Christ, why was that? I have a +7 to that. All right. So
now what?
So that enables me to use a cantrip that I don't normally know, and Shalazar hasn't had formal mage training like he's a little bit getting here with Galio. So this is sort of apropos. I'm kind of tapping into almost sorcerer like this is just the wizarding hat sort of doing this for me. But I'd like to use a cantrip that doesn't come from the player's handbook or anything. It comes from, I think, like guild masters of Ravnica or something. So this is not like a broken thing, and I'm mostly doing it for role plays. But I don't know if we're.
I got you. Throw it out there.
All right. So this is the cantrip Encode Thoughts. What this does is it essentially allows me to pluck a memory from my mind, and in doing so, I actually sort of almost forget. I love that. So I almost for a moment forget about what I want to do is I wanted to pluck the mask and whatever I could get of the coin from my mind, and basically I just generate little tiny images of them instead. So it sort of eases me of this dream, and I now have they're not quite physical. They're almost semi astral or something like that. They're semi-physical or something like that. But yeah, they're sort of little real-world representations of this thing that I had in my mind previously.
Okay. So
all right.
I award you inspiration for that play, even though
Sick.
It took inspiration to get there.
Sick.
Awesome job, dude.
All right, cool.
So, and by the way, just so you know, I don't mind that you went to the Guildmaster's Guide of Ravnica. Had that been a different sort of spell, though, I might have just said no, because
Right.
it's outside the books that we use.
Right.
But that is not a game-breaking spell outside of what we do, and I think it's awesome, so I'm gaming. But just so you know,
Word.
I withhold the right to be like, nah, dude.
Yeah, totally. I mean, when I was reading it, most people were like, this kind of sucks, but I mean, it could be kind of cool. That's why I figured it was probably going to be all right.
I think it's perfect. All right, so you make your way the next day. There's breakfast waiting for you. Marigold Brightshine has this amazing breakfast ready for you that, you kind of like on your way out the door, and you rush in the early morning, sort of this crisp air of the morning. You walk through the town that's just waking up of Lelion, and you make it to the house of Thelivar. The birds sort of explode off the roof as you approach, and you look up and you see the scaffolding on the east side of the building. And near the very top, there's a window up here, and you look. First your eyes go here where the woman had been that you had seen, and you didn't see her. But then you kind of feel like you're being watched. And when you look up to the window up here, you believe that woman, the Sword of Lelion, Aubrey Silverspun, and she's looking out the window at you. And she's looking with pleading eyes, and then as the more you stare at her, you can see her kind of phasing in and out, and then she kind of nods her head, and she's gone.
Where was she? She was like on the second floor this time, like near where the library would have been.
Near the very top. There's a window.
Okay.
Way up here, near the very, very top.
Cool.
So, with that, you work your way up the hill, and when you approach and walk through the front door, you approach that same room, where there's puddles and water is dripping, although there's less of it because there hasn't been much rain lately, but there's stagnant water. You can smell it. Those backpacks of the guards are still there. These perfect, like, military style, beautiful backpacks just sitting there untouched. And it's much quieter than last time you walked in here. And you can just hear the bloop, bloop of water dropping. What do you do?
Galileo! Where is that? Where is that old curmudgeon?
You hear nothing.
I walk over to the door that he was at yesterday, and I begin to knock on it. And I say, I'm here for my morning meeting. Don't tell me I'm late again.
Nothing.
I begin to grow concerned, and I try the door handle.
All right. The door opens easily, and you walk in to his office. You see him, and he's on all fours, and he's pawing at the wall.
Oh, shit.
And he's babbling very, like, you can barely even hear him. You can see all these bookshelves housing dozens of musty scrolls and journals, and you can see his handwriting. You can see as he touches the wall, you can see there's like these purple fingerprints of his, like from the ink on his hands, and he's just like pawing the wall. Make an insight check.
What's this dude's name again?
Galileo.
Okay.
Ellie, bro. It's in his token there.
I don't have a token.
Oh,
yes.
sorry. Let me move you inside, Ragnur, so you can see what we're seeing.
Oh, just a little room.
Little baby room.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's almost like he thinks he's going to climb up this wall or something. He's unconscious.
He's unconscious? Is he still like on all fours? And
Yeah, he's on, well, I shouldn't say he's on all fours. He's on his knees with his hands against the wall, and he's like pawing at the wall, and he's babbling incoherently.
Okay, so I think I run over to him and kind of kneel next to him and put my arm around him and try to get like a good close look at him, and I'm like, Galileo, are you all right, man? What's become of you?
And he kind of starts, and you look at him, and like his eyes are black and blue, but not from being like punched, like complete lack of sleep. His face is sagging, and his eyes open up, and he's looking at you, but he's not. Like it's that 1,000-mile stare. Like he doesn't see you at all, and he's like, "Get out of my head! Get out of my study!" And suddenly he focuses in on you, and he's like, "How dare you walk in on a wizard?" And he stands up, and he kind of slurps some drool off his face, and he's like, "Ah!" And you see him trying to get his bearings, and he stands up with as much dignity as he has, and he wipes, like, straightens out his robes. When he does, he smudges purple ink down them, and he looks at his hands, and he's like, "Ah, you're late. I knew you'd be late. You're lazy, and you're a slacker, and leave me and go to work and decipher the things."
Galileo, I'm here checking up on you. I worry about you.
I am a Rashimi mage. I need no checking up on. I'm doing scrolls for you for payment. I should be checking up on you.
And that's precisely what I'm here for. I just am trying to help you out. I wasn't expecting to see you crawling at the wall like some sort of raccoon I'd find in a chimney, hypothetically.
Pawing at the wall. And you see him his eyes kind of dart real quick.
And I look,
wall.
And I look at the ink blots he was leaving at the wall.
Make a perception check. Okay, his eyes don't do this, but you actually see there are ink marks that go up the wall and onto the ceiling.
Oh shit.
And he sees you looking, and he doesn't quite. He's still getting his wits about him. He still has his nightgown on. Like these are not the robes you're used to seeing him in. This is like his night attire, clearly.
Huh.
And he's trying to stand with as much dignity as he can. And you see him take a deep breath, and he says, "Go to the kitchen. Get me some food. Make me some coffee. Then go about your tasks. There's much to do." And he sits at his desk and sort of takes a deep breath. You see him open the desk, and he takes out a pipe, which is not nearly as cool as your pipe. And he packs himself some tobacco, some halfling weed, and he begins to smoke.
I think I pull Ratatouille out of my hat, and I send him to go look to see if there's any food he could find, maybe like in the soldiers' backpacks, because I know there was no food in those cabinets last I looked in the kitchen. And I stay there with Galio, and I pull out my pipe, and I sit and pull out my pipe.
He barely knows that you're there. You can hear him talking. He's like, and then the pictograph, and the portal, the world, and the body, the body under the rubble. I have to find my way back somehow. My thoughts are my own. It's so close. I'm so close. And Jeeves is able to find some rations in one of the backpacks, and including like basically coffee grounds in a bag, and he brings them into you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I start to like pour some water I had in like my flask or canteen or whatever, and I sort of heat it up prestidigitation style and make some coffee for him, and I slide it over for him, and I'm taking puffs off my pipe here, and now what's popping up from the smoke in this time in the pipe of remembrance is sort of images of the planar beacon and Thelivar, the story that he was telling me of Thelivar kind of losing his mind here and not going out for supplies and becoming a little bit mad, and I'm sort of watching him deteriorate and sort of thinking about those things, and I think those images are popping up as I'm sitting there. And I slide him a coffee, and I'm like, Galio, I honestly don't know that caffeine is what you need now. Maybe I can walk you over to the shrine of Lathander, and you could just get a good night's rest. They'll take good care of you there. I can work on your research.
There is no time for rest. All I need is some food and you to do your job.
I believe I'm doing my job. I'm holding out my end of the bargain. I've translated. How many have I translated so far?
Basically the equivalent of like 2 sentences.
I've began to. Hey, did you notice the S on the wall? I've been dying to ask you. This could be related to your research. The S's on the wall could be connected to the planar beacon. Do you have any insight on this, Galio?
Beacon. Yes, the beacon. And you see him looking at sort of the smoke, as we see the tower. Like you found some imagery in one of the books you were translating of what the beacon looked like. The beacon sat at the top of the tower, and he's looking at it, and he says, yes, that is where we need to be. Yes. He says, well, now, I'm glad we've had this meeting. This has been very productive. Yes. So, you will go back to work, and I will go back to my work. Yes, you are the best apprentice I have ever had, and that is not saying much, but it is something to be said, and I have said it, and I will say no more. Now, you will leave me to my work.
Very well. Enjoy the coffee. Jeeves, let's leave him be. And as I walk out, I say, and you best get to cleaning up the ceiling. You seem to have left some tracks all over it. I'll figure out what the swords of Lelion are still doing here. And I walk out and yeah. All right. Has he got anything to say?
You hear him babbling about swords of Lelion.
And I just shut the door. I shut the door on him.
All right. So, you know that down this hallway is the kitchen on the left, your quarters on the right, and back this way are the stairs that go upstairs to the library on the second floor. I don't believe you've been to the third floor.
I have not.
Okay. So what would you like to do?
I would actually like to begin. I want to go up to the second floor and just grab some of the two or like four of the cushions that I found. They were like up on the top shelf there. So I wanted to go up there and grab.
They're basically little pillows.
Yeah. I just want to grab a bunch of those and bring them down to my little room over here.
All right. So you go up and you get them, and the library is like extra echoey, and it smells funny. You can't somewhere between like a core
You're is he breaking up for you, Corey?
In the library.
We're starting to break up, Dennis. I don't know if you can hear
What's
us.
that, Spooches?
Yeah, you're breaking up, Dennis.
Better?
We back? I think so.
Better?
Yep.
Right. The funny thing is I could hear Corey and see Corey perfectly, and Spooches on my screen. You were like, ah.
That's so random.
Yeah. It smells of like rotting corpses, and like someone just blew like 1,000 candles out, like that kind of smell, and sort of incensey. 10 degrees colder up here. You're hurting goose flesh and goose pimples all over, but you gather up the pillows and you look around, and every step you take like is creaky and echoey. It's like all the life has just been sucked out of this place. You're more than happy to be back downstairs with these pillows that you've gathered. And as you enter, your room, you notice that there is a plate on the floor right in front of the rubble. And on the plate is a pixie pear pit covered in honey, sprinkled in saffron, and with a rotted mellow fruit on the plate right in front of the pile of rubble.
Can I pick it up and examine it and see if it looks like it was eaten like today, or if it was eaten 1,000 years ago?
You don't even need to make a check. It doesn't look like it was eaten at all. It looks like someone threw this together and put it here.
Okay. I feed the pit to Jeeves, and I slide the plate out of my room.
Okay.
That's interesting. I'm getting thrown for a lot of loops right now. So I pop those little pillows on the floor, and I begin to cast as a ritual the spell Augury. And I think sort of my intent here, Augury is the spell to sort of wheel or woe, basically like something. Can you guys hear me all right? It just said my connection.
I can hear
was
you.
it?
I can hear you just fine.
Okay. It's like wheel or woe, like something good or bad about to happen. But I'm sort of trying to sort of conjure seance vibes and sort of, basically get a vibe if like these spirits are trying to like kill me or if like they need help or something like that. Yeah, but yeah, cast an augury is a ritual.
Isn't there like, don't you roll? Isn't it like there's like a 25% chance of something or other? Let me see here.
I think that's if I overuse it in a day or something like that.
Okay. All right. Yep. Okay.
So you receive an omen from an otherworldly entity about the results.
Yep. So you feel both weal and woe. Basically, when you put down the pillows and you begin, this 10-minute ritual of like basically, do you like use cards, like tarot cards? Do you throw bones? Do you?
Yeah, I think bones
meditate?
are involved.
Like, what is your method?
I would I would definitely say some bones are involved. Maybe sort of like, boiling or bones or some shit. I don't know.
So you basically throw bones, right? And then you read the bones, and then you throw them again, and you read the bones, and you feel this overwhelming sense of weal and woe, and then you feel this connection, like this. You see this light in your mind rise up from the rubble and zoom around the room. This is happening in your mind, not you know it's in your mind and not actually before you. And you see the ball of light huddle, like zoom over the plate of food that you've moved out in the hallway, and then it settles and you almost hear like a faint giggle and like faint ringing bells, and the light settles. And then in real life, you actually see the pillow decompress. You see like the shape of a small being.
But do I see anything but the decompression?
No, it's weird. There's two things happening at once. In your mind, you can see this ball of light. With your eyes, with your physical, like you can feel the difference. With your physical eyes, you do see.
Okay,
the
moment I see that decompression, I cast Blink, and I actually have to roll a d20 for this. I'm going to use Inspiration. What I'm attempting to do is teleport myself to the ethereal plane to see if what I'm dealing with is perceivable on the ethereal plane.
Okay.
So I roll 2d20, I guess, or I'll roll one and then. Okay, that was a pass. All right. Okay. So I've blinked into the ethereal plane.
So this looks very much like straight out of Lord of the Rings, and you go into like this sort of dark other reality, and you see a small fairy sitting on the pillow.
Bruh.
And it looks up at you in shock. And it's trying to tell you something, but you can't understand. Like there's a barrier. Like it's like too echoing. Like you're underwater, and it flies around you, and it flies up to the letter S, and it puts its hand there, and then it flies into the rubble, and then it all ends. And before you can react, you then feel the woe. And sort of, you see it all twisting, and you see this horrific figure. Let me see if I can get an image.
Sick.
Yeah, I can get an image. Give me 1 second. You see this horrific figure that you don't recognize what it is appear in your mind. And it looks like, I don't know why that's not working.
Oh
There it is. It looks
shit!
like that.
That thing is.
And you can see it, and it's coming at you, and as it attacks you, you come back and everything stops. You are back in this quiet, and you hear like a faint giggle, and you are back in the room by yourself with this feeling of both good and bad omens. And you see the compression on the pillow lift away, and we cut to
Shit.
Ragnur. Now, Ragnur, it is 10:17. Are we going to 10:30 or 11? I'm good either way. I just gotta know for my pacing.
Let's do 10:30.
All right, perfect. Are you good with that?
Yeah, I'm good with it.
So let's cut back to Ragnur. We cut back to Ragnur. He's in the basement. He's just been given the information that this woman allegedly knows Belgora, his mother, and allegedly he's been informed that she has likely been given to the beast in the kennel, and that is where we left off. Ragnur, what you all about, bro?
Beast in the kennel? What beast? Have you seen this beast?
I have not. The servants speak of it in great fear. The cultists, they are giddy that it is under their control, whatever it is. And they have teased me. Oh, how they have teased me. That my friend, maybe my last friend in this world at this point, has been given over to that beast. If she is your mother, dwarf, she is either dead or soon to be.
Do you know where the beast is located? It must be somewhere nearby.
In the kennels behind the lodge.
Ugh. I think I need to get you guys out first. And he turns to walk down the hallway. I think this is the hallway out of here, right?
No,
Or is it just like a room in the basement that's the only stairs?
stairs are the only way out. This is like stacks of dried goods and
Oh, okay.
things like that. Ooh.
So Ragnar says we need to get you out of these chains before I can't just let you guys sit here and rot. And he heads up the stairs, and as he does, he casts Divine Sense.
All right. So as you go this way, before you walk up the stairs, the dwarf says, "I don't know what you're about, dwarf, but I have coin, and my associate Verum has even more coin, and the cult will want to know of Talus's betrayal. So let us parlay before you go up those stairs."
Parlay.
And you don't let's see, what sort of things do you do not, no celestials, fiends, or undeads. No.
Okay, I was just thinking that maybe I'd get a drop on where
Nope.
that dude was located.
Really, really good thought, but no.
So Ragnar starts to head over and says, I don't really need coin. You can keep your coin, but Varium is your associate?
Verum
Varium.
is he is who I have pledged my allegiance to above all else. Verum is the worm speaker. Verum the White is the true owner of the white mask. Talus is jealous. She believes she is worthy. She knows I am his favorite, and that's why I am here. She means to kill him. She means to betray the cult and take the mask for herself. There are many that wish to see this happen. Some even who believe that dwarves don't have a place in this cult. Free me.
Just to be clear, Verum is trying to assassinate Talus.
So, all right, this you would be able to sort. Talus is in charge here at the lodge. Apparently, the woman Talus, according to this dwarf, now this is his story, has beef with Verum. They're both in the cult. Verum, it sounds like is a dwarf. It's certainly a dwarven name. And he referred to Verum as Verum the White, the worm speaker. And according to him, Talus is jealous and wants to kill Verum. And he says, "Me name is Ragnur, and Verum will pay you or give you what you want for my freedom. Worry not about these slaves. Free me. We will kill Talus together, and if you want, I'll help you with the beast in the kennel."
Well, I could use your hand with the beast, but these are other humans. I can't. Lathander would not want me to just leave them down here to rot and die.
When she comes, it won't matter.
And as he's making his evil laugh, Ragnar makes his leave and turns
Okay.
during that. And then all you see is Ragnar walking towards the camera as the dude's laughing in the background.
Yes, he's a bit delirious and maniacal at this point. All right. So, hold on, I got to move you. So you come up the stairs. And do you see yourself right here?
Yeah, but it's kind of like it's hard to see. It's like kind of grayed out for some reason.
Okay, hold on. Let's do this. How about now?
No, I can still see the rooms. They're just like grayed out for some reason.
I don't know what the fuck. I know why it's grayed out because you've been there before, but it's not. It should be just very frustrated by this lighting. I gotta solve the problem. All right, either way. Is it any better? Is it any better now?
Nah, it looks the same.
All right, give me one more moment. Let me try something real quick. I promise you guys I will fix this for next session. I keep meaning to get after it. Man, daylight mode is on. It should just fucking... Let me try this. How about now? I'm going old school. How's that?
Now it's all black.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
All right, hold on. I can... How about now?
There we go. I see it.
All right, let me do the same
for
for...
Shalazar's.
Let me do the same for Shalazar. How about now, Shalazar?
I see.
All right. So you come up into this kitchen, and they're still busy at work, preparing a meal, and they're bitching at each other and whatnot. And when you come up, one of these folks, the one closest to you as you come up the stairs, says, Well, whatever Arlagom wanted, I hope you have it. Don't want to hear her bitching. I don't know why Talus lets her speak to us the way she does. She's just a help around here. She's gonna get the back of me hand.
And he walks by him and he pats him on the shoulder and says, "Well, now, be nice. Be nice."
Be nice.
Walk past.
And he finds that amusing. So where are you headed? There's a back door. There is a door that you came through. Right over here. This is the door you came through.
Can I actually, while I'm in this room, can I do a perception check to see if I can see like a set of keys? I don't think it'll be that obvious, but I'll figure it out.
Yep. Yeah, you don't see keys. What you see is a flight of stairs going up. The stairs that you went down. There's a door in the west. There is a door that clearly leads out back. You can tell because there's windows facing the back where you came in.
And how much time is on the clock?
It's been, all told, you've been here at least an hour. So you're down to 11 hours.
Ragnur makes his way up the stairs.
So when you walk over to go up the stairs, this one here sees you and says, "And where do you think you're going?"
I gotta go to the bathroom. I think the bathroom's up here.
He says, the lavatory up there is for the elites and Talus herself only. I don't know. Have you ever even been here, dwarf?
Why, yeah, you've seen me. You've cooked many meals for me. Can I roll a persuasion check?
Narrows disadvantage.
It's a persuasion check?
You should have just been like, I was the guy who told you. Oh, God.
Well, again, it's deception. You're lucky. It's deception. Disadvantage. Deception.
Ooh,
okay.
Not much better.
He says, "Pardon me. I know you are a wearer of the purple, but I remember people that I'm making meals for." And with that, you kind of notice they're all now have stopped cutting vegetables and making things. They're all sort of looking at you now. Now, tell me again, dwarf, who you are and where you've come from.
Well... Fuck. Ragnur grabs his mace and takes an uppercut chuck.
All right.
At the guy.
Roll initiative.
Oh, shit.
Hold on, let me clear the initiative order.
The one guy cuts onions at you and tries to make you cry.
All right. All right. So, the cultist.
Did I get the drop on him?
You did not. The cultist sees you, making your move to smash them, and he has the knife in his hand that he was using to prepare the meal, and he takes a slash at you with it. Oh, and he crits. Okay, 8 points of damage as he plunges the knife into you. With that, the other cultists move up. The problem for them is that with where you located yourself, with the stairs there, they can't get at you. So one of them attempts to throw a cleaver at you. Does an 18 hit?
Nope.
Okay, so it clangs off your armor. This one goes and opens this door right here and runs through it. It is now your turn.
Fuck. Ragnur takes that upswing with Lightbringer. I'm gonna use my inspiration.
Okay. Probably a good idea.
Are you kidding me?
Shit. Dude, Dude, you annihilate this guy. Tell me what it looks like. I mean, you absolutely destroy him.
So Ragnar, what did I say? Uppercut. So he
Yeah.
upswings him and hits him right in the chest, and he just rockets towards the ceiling and comes down. And then
I'm gonna say he falls down the stairs into the basement. Gum 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 gum. Like you send it that far back.
And
right, you have movement and any bonus actions you'd like to take.
I can take another. So I got 2 attacks, huh?
Yep, you'd have to move up. You can move up and take an attack. Put yourself where you want to be and go, have at it.
Oh, I got the guy at the bottom of the stairs, right?
To do that, yeah, you could get there, but
Yeah,
no, so you can't go this way because the stairs go up there. You'd have to come around here. You can attack this guy.
Yeah, I'll attack that guy.
Okay.
And Ragnar runs over to the other guy. The guy falls down in the basement. Boom, hits him.
Yeah, you murk this dude too. You know, he's got a meat cleaver in his hand, and he raises his
so close to the basement. I hit him and knock him down the stairs again. So they're both rolling down the stairs.
So in the movie verse, we cut to the basement with those people that you were just talking to, and they just see these bodies roll down. All right, so the final cultist says, he starts screaming, "Guards! Guards!" And he comes around and he's like, "You don't know what you've done, dwarf." And he attempts to slash you. Does a 13 hit?
No.
So he misses very badly. It is your turn.
The weapon comes through, he clangs it off, and then as the audience just sees the shield break the screen, then Lightbringer, boom, rains down from above.
Oh shit, that murks him. And again, you send him down the stairs. We get another look at this guy's broken body. There's 3 of them now down the stairs. The Ragnur, the dwarf, is like, maybe we have a chance of getting out of here after all. All right. You have a second attack, but there's no one to attack. The other guy ran through this door from whence you came. And you have your movement. You have 30 feet of movement and any bonus actions. You have a door right here. You have windows. They're all closed, but there are windows. There's a door here to the back. And then there's a door here and here. There's doors everywhere. Where would you like to go?
I'm gonna run up the stairs.
Okay, hold on. Let me bring you over to that map. Go upstairs. And I'm going to take you from here. I'm going to take you from here. And hello, love. I have to finish DMing, so give me a sec. You can stand there and be cute. Just wait 1 second. All right, so you come up the stairs. You see a long hallway before you. There is a door on your left and a door on your right, or switch that. You got me. And the hallway continues all the way down. There's a series of doors. You can actually see that it opens up over here and overlooks the lower floor.
So Ragnar's he's gonna run down to the end of the hallway. Just
Okay.
as he's going through, checking to see if he can see any keyholes in the rooms.
So, yeah, there are definitely keyholes in all the doors. As you get down here, you can see what must be the entryway. You know, you're looking down over it. And you don't see much other than like a very ornate rug. You see a couple of statues, some pretty scary looking statues here and here. And then you see another pair of them. They look pretty like gargoyle-y here and here. So there's a door in front of you and a door to your right. What would you like to do?
Ragnar's gonna put his eye in the keyhole in front of him and See if you can see anything.
All right. So as you look through that all-important door, what looks to be a well-appointed chamber is filled with furniture, and can serve as like a place to maybe eat or like discuss important matters. You see that there are 3 men in the room wearing scale mail and carrying swords. You see a woman in robes over, she's got robes, but the robes are kind of covering her white scale mail. It's almost, looks like a white dragon almost, and she holds a wand with a blue gemstone. And she's like, you can hear her talking, and she's like, yes, tonight we will have our masquerade ball, and we'll deal with those Waterdavian nobles that stumbled upon this place. We'll have some fun and sacrifice to her. It is a sign that good things will happen for us. Perhaps I'll go to the basement and give Ragnur and Marcella a beating beforehand to put me in the right mood. And that is where we will pause for you, Ragnur. Now, we cut to outside the Greenest Keep, and we see, hold on one sec, and we see Cyanwrath walking away. Jaxx, your brother is on his knees. You see his eyes roll back in his head, and you see him fall, not even brace himself in the least, fall face first into the dirt, and you see blood pool out from his body. You see no breath in and out of his lungs, and Cyanwrath just walks away. And the kobolds cheer wildly. What do you do, Jaxx?
Jaxx runs over to his brother, and he's trying to hit his chest, and he's like, don't do this, Draxx. This wasn't how you were supposed to go. You're supposed to take his ear. This is not how it was supposed to go. And he yells at Cyanwrath, and says, you didn't have to finish him. You didn't have to do this.
Oh, that is where you are wrong. I did indeed. Perhaps if you can find me, you can have your turn. And the kobolds like, yeah! And they all like just start cheering. This is clearly something that has happened before. And as, Jaxx lets out an angry scream, a much better no than the ridiculous Anakin Skywalker no. The camera kind of pans into the clearly dead face of Draxx and gets really, really uncomfortably close, and then it's like it passes through into his mind. And we see he enters this white light. And in the white light, we can hear, Draxx. And we see a shadowy figure bathed in white light. And he says, my son, it is not your time. You must go back. Follow the hero's path. It will lead you home. Your work is not done. Then you can join me, my son. And before Draxx can answer any questions, he enters back into his body with 1 hit point and some sort of traumatic wound, some permanent damage that you have to tell me about next session, what has happened to you. But you both level up to 3rd level.
Oh, shit.
And you bring back with you part of the Feywild.
Oh, shit.
You are now a wild barbarian, a wild magic barbarian.
Dude, that is such a good fucking RPG element.
Bruh.
Dude, you had to die for that to happen.
That was sick. First of all, let it be said that Draxx, I think, was actually he kind of died with a smile on his face, knowing that he died to someone who actually bested him and not to like 50 kobolds. I think he would have been pissed if that happened. But the fact that this guy, and now I think that little scene happens, and there's part of him that's like, well, fuck, I had a moment there where I was content dying to someone who bested me. And as soon as he wakes up, he sees Cyanwrath walking off, and I'll tell you right now what the permanent wound is. Draxx cuts off his own ear, one of his own ears, and it's gonna be his mission to give that to Cyanwrath one day and maybe take his back.
I love that.
Bro,
I
that
love
is
it.
amazing.
Inspiration.
I'm going through watching new Dragon Ball Z that they released, and they introduced Beerus, who's like an all-knowing, all-powerful like deity in the world, like a god.
God of
and he
destruction.
just plays with Goku because no one's ever challenged him enough, and he's like he's excited he finally has a challenge worthwhile, and that is totally the vibes that this is giving off.
Yep.
It's so funny.
Yo, if no one's bested him in a game of strength like that, especially so easily. So now he's like, all right, I'm coming after this fool when I'm capable.
Okay, and that is where we will leave it. I have taken my notes. Man,
I thought I was rolling a new character.
twists and turns I didn't expect on all three stories. So there we are, and we will continue next week. We'll see what happens with Draxx and Jaxx. Although I will tell you, you can level your characters up now, or you can level your characters up during the week. We will do something with Jaxx and Draxx, but next session will be largely Ragnur and Shalazar, just for your purposes.
All right.
But
Cool.
you do want to level up. We will find out sort of what Jaxx and Draxx's options are moving forward. But next week is 90% about Ragnur and Shalazar.
Oh hell yeah!
Woo!
How'd we do,
Jesus.
boys?
That's a
I'm
fucking
sweating
great way
bullets
to
over
introduce
here.
a wild barbarian, dude.
Yeah, that's sick. That was sick.
Did you have that plan from the jump, Dennis?
Spooches mentioned to me that he wanted it to come from the story. So I have to admit that the Cyanwrath duel is right in the campaign. He challenged, like it happens exactly like that. He throws the challenge down. I was secretly hoping that you would take the challenge.
Right.
And I don't normally cheer against my players, but I was hoping he'd kick your ass.
Oh, he kicked my ass.
What's the? Never mind. Don't tell me the character level, because that would ruin it for us later.
So,
He one-shotted
He
me.
seemed like he would like one-shotted Mike.
I tell you what, sometime ask Mike Musatelli. In our campaign, Mike fought him, and unlike me, who rolled like a boss tonight, which I never do, Mike almost beat him. Like Bryce was sweating it out. Bryce was like, "Fuck!" Like it's not something you're supposed to win, but it's possible. And Moose almost beat him.
That's
and,
crazy.
Yeah,
so-
I had shitty luck. Like, if I rolled one more health on my health potion, I would have stayed alive at least for one turn. It just was like, it was bad luck.
I was surprised. I thought you had more hit points than that. I didn't know you were down. I didn't know it'd be over that quick. I mean, he did roll like a boss.
I was hoping to sort of play on his desire. Like, it seemed like the only reason he was sticking around is because he was hoping to have some fun. And I was trying to play on, like, bruh, like, I'm your only chance to have any fun. Go get your healers, heal me up, and we'll have a real fight. But it was all kobolds around, and I was kind of egging on.
Idea. If it wasn't all kobolds, I would have had that work. But it's written up that it's just him and the kobolds, and that's the way I said it. So,
Yep.
but he would have otherwise been down to clown, and I did expect I normally don't pull back the curtain, but I will real quick. I did expect, not like you should. I'm actually glad you didn't. But I did expect that if you got dropped, that Jaxx might jump in.
I was scared.
I was prepared for that contingent.
I was scared. I specifically thought about like how beforehand I think Draxx would have wanted everyone to be like, look, I'm here to have fun. Actually, honestly, fuck all these people. Like, I would have done this anyway. And I'm not trying to have everyone else die for my sake. So just let me die out here. I would want to die to that guy anyway.
Yeah, so you've never met your father, but you know in your heart and soul, without unequivocally, you believe that you just had contact with your father and you're trying to sort it out. We'll figure it out.
Dude, what a good way to put that in the story, son.
Yep.
All
Hell yeah.
natural, it felt like.
I had
right.
I had 3 ideas of where it might work. It happened to be there. I'm glad Mike gave me the hook, and I appreciate that. It gave me license to look ahead and find where that might. There's a couple other places that would have worked, but I think with the way he's playing his character, this was money.
Yep.
That's epic.
Good shit.
I didn't want you to die though. I did have to make a decision there, because they say, you know, if you get dropped, right, like,
right,
then you'll be brought back by the town's guard and whatnot. The only reason, even though you were legit dead, which I will kill a fucking character, right? But the only reason I didn't is because it is preordained in the book that you're most likely going to lose, and also the only reason you're not dead is you asked me early on to figure out a way to have it narratively make sense that a barbarian would be a wild magic barbarian.
Yep.
That's otherwise Draxx would be dead right now and you'd be rolling up a new character. So you saved yourself, and I'm glad it worked out, and I was glad it got a reaction. I didn't know how you guys would feel about it. So cool.
Dude, that was epic.
Next time I'm coming at him with some fucking magic, all right? He ain't gonna be ready for this shit.
Yeah, we'll discuss what that's about. That's one thing we will find out about next week. All right,
on the next episode of Dragon Ball Z.
Nice.
That's right.
Can't wait to hear the recap next week. I sometimes forget how awesome our sessions are. You know, it meant a lot. Thanks for pointing it out, Spooches. That you don't know. It's like a piece of art, right? You know, when you do a drawing or write a poem, or once you do it, it's not yours anymore, and you can't control how people react to it. It doesn't matter how good it is or bad it is. It can be shitty, but if people love it, they love it, right? Like a bad pop song. So you don't normally get feedback. You got to guess, like, was that a good session or that? So for you to let me know that it was atmospheric, that's one of the best things I could hear. The most important thing is, did we have fun? But the second most important thing is, if I'm trying to create something, like I was trying to create a mood, the fact that you felt it means the world. So awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, dude. How you spooking a level 7 necromancer with undead shit? It just doesn't happen, but it's happening.
Well, I can't wait till next week, because we're going to get resolution, good or bad, for Ragnur and Shalazar next week.
Ugh, I'm nervous.
You should be. You above all else should be.
Yeah,
Ragnur.
You gotta fight Goro, bro. Hope you're practicing your splits.
Bro. I will see you guys next week.